Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Paige Brown. I'm the mayor of the city of Gallatin. Of course, we're here today to talk about the fire that occurred on our historic downtown square last night. Of course, you know, the fire is very devastating. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and fortunately, none of our Okay. As I was saying, while the fire was certainly devastating, we were so fortunate that no one was injured and that there was no damage to any of our historic downtown structures, and for that we are grateful. We have several people with us today who are going to be making comments. The first is our fire chief, Jeff Beeman, and that last name is B-E-A-M-A-N. That will be followed by Leslie Schell, S-C-H-E-L-L, Leslie spelled L-E-S-L-I-E. Our Sumner County Mayor, Anthony Holt, H-O-L-T. Randall Coy from No Box Development, and his last name is spelled C-O-Y, and that is Randall with two L's. And also with us is Paul Lawson from Turner Construction and Scott Langford from the Sumner County Commission. With that, I'm going to ask Chief Beeman to come forward at this time and make comments for you all. Chief Beeman?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Jeff Beeman. I serve as a fire chief here for the Gallatin Fire Department. Just to kind of outline the events that occurred last night, we received the call at 8:02 p.m. with the first arriving company to make the scene at 8:06. They initiated defensive operations using an aerial apparatus and initially kept the fire under control until we could send crews up the interior of the building using a temporary standpipe with hand lines and made the final extinguishment of the fire. We declared the fire under control at 9:12 p.m. and the fire knocked down, which means we've eliminated the hot spots and there's no additional hazards at 10:03 p.m. And just after midnight, we cleared all the fire companies to return back into service. Last night, we received assistance from several area fire departments. We had the Hendersonville Fire Department, who sent a ladder company to the scene, and they also sent a fire engine company to our Station 2 on Nashville Pike to help cover the city with all of our units down here on the square combating the fire. We also received help from the #1 Volunteer Fire Department and the Gallatin Volunteer Fire Department, with about 60 people on the scene at any given time participating in operations. We're still in the investigative phase of the incident. That was initially led by a joint effort between the Gallatin Police Department and the Gallatin Fire Department. Upon their recommendation, the TBI has joined the investigation, and we'll continue with that, but this is going to be a laborious process as they delayer the materials that have burned on top of the roof as they look for the cause and origin of the fire. As that continues, we'll be more than happy to update everyone as to the status of the investigation. But again, it's going to require some labor and some effort, so it could be a couple more days really before I have another update. And here, I'll pause here, and we'll bring the next person up that the mayor identified.
Thank you, and Chief Beeman will take your questions in a bit. Next, I introduce Ms. Leslie Schell. She is the lady who's been the lead on this project since it began in 2016. Ms. Schell.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Just a little bit of history on the project. The Sumner County Commission chose to form an ad hoc committee in December of 2016 to look into our courthouses. Our courthouses are currently operating in 3 separate buildings across the city, and this was something that was needed for our county and something that our commission recognized as making a priority. We worked together with the city of Gallatin and also the business owners downtown, along with the counties, to come up with a plan to build a new courthouse, keeping it thriving downtown in Gallatin, and we have worked very hard to make this a project of collaboration between everyone involved. The county is determined that we are going to continue to push forward with this project, and we are committed to working together. We are working with the officials as they continue their investigation, and we are so grateful for all of our first responders that came last night and we are grateful for where we are today. So no one was hurt, nothing that can't be replaced. So we're excited about that, and I'll have the next person come up.
Randall Coy from No Box Development is Sumner County's project manager for this.
Good afternoon, everybody. Back in 2018, Sumner County awarded me the position of helping them deliver these projects. And the first order of business was creating the most top-notch project team that we could. And in that process, we identified Earl Swenson Associates as the architect of record and Turner Construction Company as the general contractor. This team has been invaluable throughout this entire process, and our current role in all this right now is to support the investigation in any way we can by providing drawings and answering questions, doing anything we can to support the ongoing work that's happening over at the project site. Thank you.
Next is our Sumner County Mayor, Anthony Holt.
First of all, let me thank all of you for coming out today to cover this. This is a tragic event for the county. We put a lot of energy and time, as Ms. Shell said, in designing this beautiful courthouse downtown. Of course, we don't know at the moment what actually caused the fire. We suspect there was a big lightning storm that may have been what caused the fire. The main thing, I think, the takeaway today is that nobody was injured. We want to thank our first responders, especially Gallatin Fire and EMS. EMS came out, ran a drone over the building to see where the hot spots were, and that assisted in helping our first responders, our fire departments, to put out this fire. Of course, we're concerned about the building. It's done quite a bit of damage, unfortunately. We will make sure that the building is thoroughly assessed. I'm sure we'll have architectural engineers come out and make sure the integrity of the building has not been affected. I'm certain that we're going to have to replace a large part of the roof. It's going to delay delay construction, not destruction. We don't want to destroy anything. But we want to make sure that the building is safe again. It was scheduled to be complete next year in 23. It's probably going to delay it now. But we're just so grateful that no one was hurt and the building will be salvaged. So thank you again for coming out, and I appreciate your time.
And Scott Langford is our Sumner County Commission Chairman.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment, first and foremost, to thank Mayor Brown and the City of Gallatin. If you had been here last night, you would have seen the work that they did to preserve the downtown square, to keep the courthouse safe, to keep the citizens of Gallatin safe, and then to coordinate along with Sumner County EMA and Sumner County EMS a response that was unbelievable to watch. And it highlights again, even in the midst of difficulties and challenges, how Sumner County puts together, and that's attributable to our leaders and our hard workers, from our fire chiefs to Mayor Brown to Ms. Shell to others who work around the clock to keep Sumner County safe. And I think, as Mayor Holt said, we're deeply committed to this project. It's going to make Sumner County safer. It connects into the historicity of the downtown square. And, we're thankful, so thankful that no one was injured, and we look forward to being able to gather together whenever we can to announce that the building's back on track and will open and serve the citizens of Sumner County for the next century. Thank you.
Thank you all for your comments. In conclusion, while we are all most saddened and dismayed by what we will view as a setback, we are so grateful for the way that the incident was responded to, for the safety of all involved, that no additional structures were injured, that no people were injured. And I, along with the people behind me, are very confident that we will be able to overcome this hurdle and look forward to a beautiful new Sumner County Courthouse. With that, I will ask Chief Beeman to come forward in case anyone has any questions for him.
For myself, but in the cell phone video, the plumes of smoke were really dark. Were there materials, chemicals that were burning on the roof?
It was the roofing materials that were still in pallets on top of the roof, and a lot of that's petroleum-based. So that was the reason behind that dense black smoke.
Can someone tell us about the specs of the building, the size of this building, and then how much of the roof was damaged, percentages maybe?
I am not sure about this. 220,000 square feet. From inspection of the roof this morning, you're probably going to have an area about 30% of the surface area of the roof that was involved or impacted by last night's incident.
And none of the construction workers could work today, I'm guessing, because it's all the scene still.
Yes, ma'am. It's still under investigation. They're going to have a limited presence on site.
Why is TBI getting involved?
Well, so, as I said earlier, it's a joint investigation between the Gallatin Police and the Gallatin Fire Department. And the TBI actually has a fire investigation unit that's a resource that's available across the state. And with this being a public building, with the potential dollar loss and the potential delay for the construction, we felt it was appropriate to bring that partner in to help us to speed the investigation up, because they're going to have some more resources that we don't have that could help us determine the cause.
And you guys mentioned that cause could be the lightning strike. Why do you guys suspect that at this time?
So if remember yesterday, we did have some storms move through the area. We are working with the National Weather Service to determine if there was a lightning strike that did occur in that area, and that'll be part of the investigation that they'll follow up with.
Since the building was under construction, this may not be a question for you, but I'm just going to ask the money question. If you got to rebuild it, I would imagine the costs go up. Is that covered, or is the county insured, or how does that additional cost factor into what?
I'm probably going to have to defer that to somebody else as far as those dollar signs. Yes, sir. I apologize for not having that answer.
Mayor Holt said he would answer it. I would say to be determined.
I think that you've got a question, but we feel comfortable. We've got a good contractor in Turner Construction. I feel comfortable they are fully insured. And of course, we've got to sort through all of that, but it's not on the county's insurance. It is under construction. We have not taken title to the building. And we feel really good about our contractor and those who are actually managing the project. So I feel like we want to make sure what the cause of the fire is for certain, if we possibly can. And then, of course, we want to make sure we support our contractors so they're reimbursed, so we can get this thing back on track and get this thing constructed in a timely manner. And that will, of course, reduce our costs by doing that. So I hope that gives you an indication of where we're at. And I feel comfortable that with this contractor we've worked with many times, that this is going to turn out in the end where the taxpayers won't end up holding the bag. And we want to make sure that we're responsible and we get the building constructed at cost, if at all possible.
How thankful are you that none of the historic buildings to the left of that building were damaged?
Well, when you have a tragedy like this, you're never really happy, but you're very grateful that it didn't do more property damage. But, as I said earlier, we're extremely happy that no one was injured. That's the big takeaway. You can replace buildings, you can do a lot of things, but you can't replace a life. And so with that said, and by the hard work of our first responders, we're just so happy that it was, no explosions, nothing severe happened where we had any loss of life.
Do you have an estimate of maybe how long the delay is going to be? I mean, like 6 months?
Well, I think a lot of that depends on, we don't know how long the investigation will take. And then, of course, after the investigation, you're dealing with quite a bit of money. And so then you've got to satisfy, the contractor will have to satisfy the insurance company. And I think the big issue today is the supply chain. How long is it going to take to acquire new materials to repair what we have?
As far as you know, is it just the roof and the construction that you're replacing, or does this reconstruction go further down into the actual structure?
I think the good thing is it started at the roof. It didn't start at the bottom and burn up. So I'm not a structural engineer, and of course, a structural engineer will be involved to make sure that whatever steel is in place, that it retains its original strength. And I think that's an important part of the process. We want to make sure that this is going to be a safe building, and it will be a safe building, but it's going to take a little longer. We've got to make sure that we do our due diligence.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Were there any additional questions for Chief Beeman? Thank you, guys. Have a great day.